door, waited for the flash. Greyhound station, paid in cash. It's Lazarus, we coming back. They say it's darkest before the dawn. We've been in this town for far too long. They say it's darkest before the dawn. We're moving on, we're moving on, we're moving on. Sunset, no regrets. First chance, last stand, stuck in the middle. Even bad girls, no good love. You taste so sweet, it hurts a little. Make our home where we stand. One suitcase and half a plan. Follow the wolves and sing along. Pass the voices to the song. They say it's darkest before the dawn. We've been in this town for far too long. They say it's darkest before the dawn. We're moving on, we're moving on, we're moving on. Sunset, no regrets. First chance, last stand, stuck in the middle. Even bad girls, no good love. You taste so sweet, it hurts a little.
And we are live. Hi guys, how's it going?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't have an
Hi.
intro for this, like other than just the intro that we just rolled. This is
Okay.
very
It's
casual.
but it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
casual, just chilling, we're hanging out. Cause it's been what? When did we even film that episode, guys? Episode 3 was in
Around a
December.
month and a half ago.
That was December.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Was
right.
it?
It was
It was
December.
before
It was-
Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
that one was a long time ago. So it's been a couple of months since we've even like seen or talked about that particular episode. So
Being on the other side, reliving
Yeah.
those moments again was really cool.
yeah,
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
That
it's
was
it's
really
fun to
cool.
just sit back and watch it.
for sure. And Rest, I feel so bad still. Like that literally all you did that session was sit back and watch.
Yeah, I sat back and watched it for the second time.
The
For
many
real.
faces of rest.
Yeah, the many. Yeah.
Oh my
We needed
gosh,
like just
getting
like
to
a face
watch.
compilation on me being like, what the
Yes.
fuck?
What I really loved as a player watching it back though is really getting to pay attention and see everything everyone else was doing during the session, because
Yes.
as you're playing, you're so into your own thing that
Yeah.
you don't necessarily see what everybody's doing unless you're one-on-one with them and you're
Yeah.
really giving them that focus. So I mean, to see Rest with his just, you know, kind of
Yeah. I also loved
Exaggerated.
I also
Yeah.
loved the little like thing that we did like at one point in time when
Oh.
the three of them were all
Yeah.
role playing and we're just like
Just like, hello.
like you were dabbing. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
I forgot I did
about
that,
it.
so I saw it happen. I'm like, I'm an idiot.
I loved it though. I really
Yeah.
did. Like getting to sit back because I'm so engaged with watching all of you.
Yeah.
When I'm GMing, just to see like try and gauge your reactions to whatever we're talking about and like just see where I need to potentially pivot conversations even. So like getting the opportunity to just kind of sit back and watch from an outsider perspective is so crazy. And like it also kind of gives me a lot of anxiety as a GM because I'm just like, oh man, I could have done this so much better. Like this was off. Like, oh, I messed that up, or like I messed up that lore bit there. But at the same time, like I've been doing this for like a little over 10 years now, and I started in high school, and like just seeing my evolution of GMing over that amount of time has been really fun to watch. So that's like a whole other side of it too. It's just like, oh, if only little baby Fraz could see where we are today. Like,
For real though, big shout out to you, Fraz. You're doing an
Yeah.
amazing job.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
Yep.
for real.
I have been pumping it all week on my own Twitter, my own streams. I put a command in just to get people to go to Fraz's YouTube on my stream. So
That's
it's just-
dope.
yeah.
phrasing.
Oh wait, wrong one.
I wasn't gonna laugh until Fraz lost her stuff. But Fraz couldn't keep it together. I've been pumping it all week. Really? Okay, thanks, Theo.
Shit, bud. Weird
Thanks
flex,
for the
but
info,
okay.
bud. If you don't toot your own horn, no one else will.
But no, okay, but in seriousness though, I really do appreciate that. I know you've been hyping it up, JD's been hyping it up. Like
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to put it wherever I can.
I
As
mean, you
far
made
as,
it
like,
easier. You made such great tweets and media to throw out for.
Yeah,
for it.
yeah,
Right?
it was,
Yeah.
All the tweets were so eye-catching and
my
everything.
my Twitter game has improved tremendously.
Oh my God! We could talk. I could do an entire 4 hours on how far your social media skills have come in the last 2 years. Holy
Not
heck!
like,
And
even in the last like
8
6
months, 6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
but I
for
just
real,
mean
though.
like we all started off just texting like some words and then an exclamation point and then be like yay and then
Yeah.
liking our own tweet.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Lucky your
Hey,
own
good
tweet.
job! And then it's like, and then you
90% of my early Twitter was just shit posting. Like
or just retweets of other stuff like
yeah.
retweet,
Likes and
retweet. Stop that.
retweets, yeah.
I mean,
for real, though.
sometimes that's what you do, and
Hey.
it'll get going. I mean,
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with a good RT, fam. Nothing wrong
Also,
with it.
massive shout out to Matt
Click.
for
Oh, yeah.
providing us with some awesome assets that we're using
Yes.
here, that I used in all of the trailers, that you're going to be
Love it.
seeing more of just in the future in general. Matt has been amazing since day one. Like literally as soon as I picked up the game and I didn't understand a mechanic, I just shot him a DM on Twitter and was like, maybe he'll read it. And literally was just, one, so responsive, and two, just so kind and humble about it. Like, I'm sitting over here like freaking out about the fact that someone who has written an entire tabletop system follows me on Twitter and Twitch now, apparently. So it's just like,
Yeah, I
He
mean,
retweeted that.
yeah,
dude doesn't
and
know me from Spit, and he's been retweeting my stuff
Yeah,
too, and just
he-
fantastic
So awesome.
guy.
I
So
like
awesome.
I've been chatting with him a little bit like in DMs and just kind of back and forth on Twitter, and he like him and the other guys over at Absolute Tabletop are really enjoying what we're doing. So
Oh,
we're
that's
doing
cool.
it
Love
we're
it.
doing it
Love
right,
it.
guys. Like,
Right, exactly.
like to
We're on
hear.
the right path, you know?
So, and for one thing, thank you guys for being a part of all of this, because literally none of this would be possible without you. I can't make and play a game all by myself. Like, that's just boring, and like I might as well just go play Skyrim. But
Yeah, I love Skyrim.
Which
I
which
love
you
Skyrim.
are
No qualms
obsessively
with Skyrim.
doing right now. Let's be
It
clear.
is so
currently
much
downloaded
Skyrim.
on my PC.
You're right now
Uh,
thinking about Skyrim while
Yeah.
you're doing this
Yeah.
as
Oh,
well.
I should
It's okay.
I should play a magic
Maybe he
class.
likes
I'm
Skyrim
just
so
gonna
much,
be a
even though he didn't
rogue.
even play it. He turned another
Listen,
game into
I get it.
Skyrim.
I'm building a
Exactly.
city. I'm building a whole power supply feeder down
Yeah.
this road up a
Dude,
mountain
you
top
have
right
me
need
now.
to-
addicted
when
to
we get
that
to a
so
point-
bad. Watching you play that is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
by the
this,
way,
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying.
When
Yeah.
we get to a point where we're gonna be like actually visiting places that have civilizations, I'm gonna be like consulting JD and being like, "Hey, can you like build this city for
Right?
me?"
Yes.
That'd be
In
cool.
Skylines,
That'd be
that
so
way-
good.
That
Yeah,
way we
that'd be
have like
sweet.
some
Build ruins.
footage and stuff.
If you
Yeah.
could find
Yeah.
mods
Do
that
it.
could actually
Yo.
give you
Could
like
do it.
xenoterrain, that would be incredible.
We can do some cool stuff. I think we'll talk about it.
That's,
But
that's a
idea.
really good idea.
what I find
you know?
interesting is that listen, this episode was good, but like as I was watching it, I'm sitting there going, we're a lot better than this now.
Yeah,
It
we've come
gets-
so far.
It's
Yeah,
so
Way
much better.
better.
I mean, not
Yeah.
that was bad, and I'm not trying to put it down, but I was even just our
JD is
flow.
confused on
Yes.
GIF.
Yes.
Our flow.
100%.
Shush. I'm still confused. And remember, listen. No, you have to understand. I am an actor.
I know.
Okay, this is actoring. Okay,
This is
I know
actoring.
exactly what is going on in the entire plot of everything, all of the subplots. I'm completely well aware, but Light Rider isn't.
Mhm.
Okay, it's
Well,
called.
that's, you know.
There was a little bit
Acting.
of both.
That's
in
Called
that
roll.
one, though.
I balderdash.
Under the
I
rug.
disagree.
Slid under the rug.
I disagree entirely. You cannot prove it. There's no proof
Rug
anywhere.
is piled up behind him about this high now.
Definitely not. There's definitely not video proof of me not knowing what was going
Nope,
on.
not at all.
You can do the
Not at
recap
all.
on the next episode.
None. No.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
No.
But no,
Previously on.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be a lot of fun. Maybe if each of us does a recap for each session and we take turns.
I've been thinking about doing that. That was something that my one of my GMs that I had, Sam, he did that, like made us do our own recaps. And I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Like from a player
And I don't love it.
but from a player perspective, like for me doing it, it was fine because I was the note taker. I am the person who wants to be the fucking crazy haired dude at the billboard and being like, it all comes together.
Yeah.
But
twists.
that's just how I am.
Fred's got too many strings around the room.
Yeah, no, you should see my Obsidian notes for the Mass Effect campaign that I'm playing in. Like, it's insane. But I have always had a passion for lore and story building, so like it was easy for me. But then sitting and listening to other players who were not as invested in like the events and note taking and everything else as I was, it's just like, oh yeah, we did this thing and then we did that thing and that was it. It's like you
Well, the thing
forgot
is,
like an
I think-
entire plot point that we went through.
I think everybody here is invested
Oh, yeah.
enough that if
No,
we
no,
did
no,
a
for
brief recap, not individually, not like of our own personal stuff during the session, but just a generalized recap of the last session,
Yeah.
you know,
Like what I do
know,
at the beginning of sessions right now. Yeah, for
Do
sure.
like
Yeah.
character recaps. So I'm just like, yeah, I slept. I don't fucking know. I was just doing my own thing.
I collapsed and now I am unconscious somewhere.
I think I pissed Frass off somehow, so I was just out cold for like 80 hours.
No, we just had to finish. We just had to get to the culmination of your arc. It's fine.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's all good.
It also might be interesting too if we take somebody who was heavily invested in the last session to recap into the new session. So
Yeah.
whichever character maybe kind of led that charge kind of gives the recap.
And it would like we can do it in character or out of character too. I know I did a lot of for me, I did a lot of my recaps in character. And then if there was any like important things that like my character didn't necessarily know, but I as a player knew, then I would insert that into our recap as well if it was an important point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that we consider going. We can consider going forward. Also, I just want to talk about the lack of English flubs in this session. I did so good.
Just look at the editing skills.
Until
They just speak for themselves.
Rude.
Skills.
Redubs over it every time.
No, I think there were only a couple of like I edited out the turtle tangent because we didn't need that.
There was a point there that I see. Oh, I know what. There was a tangent there.
was a
Hold on a
tangent there.
minute.
It's
we
like a
went
hard,
on
like
for a
just
minute
like
there.
just like
Yeah.
whiplash from like movements. It's like
Yeah.
something happened in between
I tried
there.
to make it
See, that's why you
subtle.
thought the video was 3 hours long. 'Cause
Right.
No, but like,
Makes sense.
legitimately, because the intro ended up being like
Yeah.
3 minutes long. So and then I kept a lot of the intermission time. I didn't keep all of the intermission time, but I like to keep a couple of minutes in the edits just so people can get up and like go get snacks or whatever.
Yeah, because it is a
Snacks.
premiere. It's not a lot. It's not a straight up VOD.
Yeah,
it's not as easy
exactly.
to just pause when you need a break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tried to give people time to do that. But one question I have for you guys, because I've been kind of thinking about some questions to ask during this, since we don't really have a lot. This is our pilot episode, as it were. And I'm sure that as we continue,
And
along,
we're all
we'll have-
pilots.
I'm sure that as we continue on, we will have more folks asking questions and things like that. So,
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
so my question to you guys,
Pilot obvious.
there you go. And this can come from, I know that JD, this is your first tabletop. So I guess
I've had tables in my life, but I've never.
tabletop game.
Popped them once
Yes.
or twice.
Yeah. So
I'm hovering over the pan, JD. Calm down.
this might be more of a question for folks who have played other tabletop games in the past. So, but obviously everyone gets a chance to answer. What is your guys' favorite mechanic, like in Mecha Hack? So just as gameplay, as written, what's your guys' favorite mechanic? We can go around the table.
Brain.
I mean, for me, it's a little bit hard to say.
Mhm.
Because there's 2 points that I really like that make it different from most standardized tabletop RPGs. I like the looser movement system. It's not as hardcore set, between, you're moving one block is 5 feet, something like that.
Right.
So that opens up the flow a little bit more, allows a little more creativity. You still have the possibility of coming in and out of engagement range, so kind of still provoking that attack of opportunity bit, but without being boxed in by the rule.
Yeah.
That being said, the roll under mechanic I think is far superior. Limited experience. I haven't played a lot of tabletop, but I have played, and I think it's far superior to the rollover. It really kind of gives you a better sense of what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, if you have a 10 stat, you have an almost 50-50 chance of passing or failing a roll.
Yeah.
You're not adding an insane amount of other things on top of it, and
it simplifies the system, right? So rather than having like a DC, a difficulty class to meet, it's just like if you roll under this, you pass. Like
it's far
win.
easier to understand the advantage and disadvantage system as well when you're talking about adding a plus or a minus, because you're adding it to your stat as opposed to your roll.
To your roll, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that makes the initial understanding much easier to grasp, and I think this would be a great system for players who haven't played before. Like, I think JD might agree with that. He's been having a blast with it, right?
Oh, I've watched some of the full on, really following the rules, and not every tabletop follows. It's always, from my understanding anyway, is that there's, you have different table rules and house rules and stuff that develop over time in different games, right?
Right.
But I will say it feels more natural. A lot of what I had watched felt almost fiddly. It's like, well, it's almost like you don't know something. I don't like going into a game where you don't know the rules.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think with the more complicated tabletop stuff, it tends to be, oh, well, you didn't know about this rule that was on page 37A, section 4, paragraph 2. And it really is that way.
Right.
I say I've never played a tabletop, but I have. I sat down when I was about 14 to play OG Dungeons and Dragons. I rage quit in about 5 minutes. It might have been 30, but I mean, I rage quit because it wasn't fair, because you're not being told until after the fact, until you get into a situation. With this, you know what is happening going into it. I feel in control of my character's actions with the way that it plays, and it's not overly complicated. I understand what I'm doing when I roll. I mean, the most complicated thing for me is figuring out which dice to use, and even that is really streamlined and straightforward. So at least for my class.
Last session, let's just say
at least for my class, Mr. Perfect 20 over here, or whatever the flip that was, that hitting the unicorn, being happy about it, and then being like, no, that's a bad unicorn.
That's a bad unicorn.
Bad unicorn.
Yeah, bad unicorn. Unicorn bad in Mecha Hack.
I do think that as we go, for at least from what I'm looking at in the guidebook and everything, in the pilot's manual, is that there is more complicated stuff as we go. We just haven't gotten into enough encounters and really built it up yet, because we've really been fleshing out the world. So I think when we start to get into some real encounters, we're going to see the flexibility of the combat even more. I do remember, I mean, the last big combat thing that we did was freaking awesome, and I want more of it.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, spoiler.
So
Easy.
stuff you guys haven't seen yet out there in Viewerland that's really cool, and I really don't think we've gotten into all of the. We really haven't gotten into how flexible it really is.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. I think it's really a cool system, and I think if you're scared of RPGs or tabletop stuff, this is very approachable and not at all scary.
Yeah,
we've touched on some of those more advanced mechanics. I think we've just barely grazed them, and it just made the combat insane. You could feel the tension, and things just went.
The music helps. I'm so glad that we.
Yes, the music helps. Done. Like, oh my god.
But yeah.
I'm really enjoying the whole process. I think it's cool. I think it's neat.
I'm so glad that we're like, that's another like big added bonus for me, is with the pre-recorded format, is that now we can use Discord and OBS Ninja, and it's not like tanking my internet while we're recording. So that's been really nice, because now I can go back to sharing music again, which is like, it's huge. And granted, the PC upgrades that I've made have certainly helped.
Very much so.
But yeah,
I'll say too, I think having them broken up the way that they are, to where even though it's live, that folks can go back and watch the kind of edited down version of it, I think does make it easier. I think one of the difficulties with tabletop stuff is it does go long. Yeah, it is long form content.
even like edited down, it's still like at the shortest, it's going to be 2.5 hours.
But
so
that's movie length.
Yeah.
Not Lord of the Rings to back to
the
back
extended
length.
cut. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think for me anyway, like Squirrel, it's much more parsable. It's much more
Yeah.
digestible, and I understand more of it as it's going along. I think for us as players too, it's been the time that we've been playing has been really the best ones. The last 2 or 3 that we've done because they've been.
I'm so excited for the next one though.
Oh my
We're
god!
really getting
I'm so
yeah,
excited.
You guys are gonna, and I mean, I'm excited for the next time we get together and shoot it. So
Yeah. That's what I'm
which-
talking about. I'm super excited for the next.
Which
the
we
next
talked
one we're
about
gonna-
how we're gonna do that and shoot and
Yes.
release. We
Yep.
have
Mhm,
okay,
a
good.
little bit.
So Light Rider didn't know. JD.
Are we back to the episode we just watched? What?
Yeah, what just happened?
When are we gonna shoot
back
that
in character.
episode?
Back in character.
Which,
When are we gonna shoot the episode we just watched?
Yeah. For real though.
No, my god.
That's how it
Too many
works.
frying pans to the head.
Have to go back in time.
Yes.
Back to
lots
the
of
future.
time travel. Lots of time travel involved.
Well, I mean,
Which it's gonna like it'll get progressively easier as well. And that's another thing too. Like you guys kind of talked about like advanced combat mechanics and things like that. This system only goes up to level 10. So that's why we're not like leveling up as often. You guys are still
That
level
makes
2
sense.
after
Yeah,
like
that makes sense.
4 months.
Yeah.
And I think only 1 Zeta point has been given out.
Yeah, and I don't know who I gave it to. I really don't.
It's
I
on
think
somebody's sheet.
Yeah.
I think it's on WisePork's sheet.
I
No,
think
it's not on mine. I don't
I
have
thought it was
one.
on Jax.
it might be.
But
I
that-
genuinely
yeah.
don't
Might be there on
remember.
Quinn,
I,
yeah.
I thought you awarded that when we found the
Everyone
thing
take a
in the
Zeta point for
underground.
next session.
Oh my
Everyone
god.
take a
Let's
Zeta
go,
point for next
let's
session,
go.
just as a celebration of this
Yeah.
being a thing. So there you go.
Okay.
drunk GM.
All right.
You love to see it.
Drunk GM.
Yeah.
Just throwing
Put
Zeta
my
points
thing
around.
right now.
It's fine.
No.
Yeah, take one.
Right?
Take one
Yeah,
right now.
we're putting it on there.
Put
right
it on
now.
your
Let's
sheet
go.
because if it's not on your sheet, I am not accountable for the fact that it's
Doesn't
not on your
exist.
sheet. It doesn't exist if
yeah.
it's not on your sheet.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, Control S saved. All right.
Love it.
And also remember Zeta points do stack, so that's a fun little thing. So
Love it.
yeah. So while we're talking about Zeta points, you guys remember what Zeta points do, right?
I need a briefing
Okay.
on Zeta points for sure.
Okay, so
I vaguely remember.
let me just find the page in here because it's just going to be easier if I take it out of the page rather than trying to describe it. It's basically inspiration, but you can only use it on other people. You can't use it on
okay.
yourself. Yeah. So it's a.
Great, now you
it's
got me thinking about Joe Cat. Inspired.
inspired. Now let me find it.
God, he needs to do more videos like
Oh
that.
God, I need more crap guides to D&D. Like I know that there's no more, but
Well, he could do Monster Hunter Rise.
that's true. That's very
I
true.
mean-
Where in the heck? Where did I
Which-
put it?
There's so many games I want right now, and I can't.
Facts.
I want Dying
Yeah.
Light.
I really
shouldn't-
want Dying
I shouldn't
Light.
have, but I did.
I want Monster Hunter Rise.
I assume
on
you picked up
PC.
Dying Light too. Oh yeah.
I did.
Yeah, we need to get that
Yeah, I did.
that Skyrim server running.
Yeah, and I picked up Skyrim because somebody was like, hey, we can play multiplayer. Let's
In
mod
all fairness,
Wait,
Skyrim.
there's
I-
multiplayer Skyrim?
There is a mod that you can install. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like 8 years old. I don't know
I mean,
how it
it
even
works.
works.
That's what I'm
It
saying.
still
You said that to me,
works.
I'm like, what do I got to do?
It
I'm
should
downloading
not
it.
work.
I already
Okay.
have-
Skyrim is one of the most moddable games out there.
love
Yeah, it
Skyrim.
really is. Like there's
play that
there's a
shit.
process. I'm gonna make a tutorial on how to do it, but there is a process. So okay, back to this. Zeta points. Zeta points are fun meta rewards that can be spent to benefit your allies. You gain Zeta points by doing cool stuff in the game, coming up with just crazy enough to work plans, taking big risks, or shining in roleplay, aka they're awarded by me. So, Zeta points are intended for dramatic, climactic,
How
or
do we get any
otherwise
of them
critical
then?
moments. The last because I keep forgetting to give them to you mostly.
No, I mean, we drive you insane, so how do we even
Yeah.
know how many?
So
Minus 1 Zeta point for all of you.
here's the catch. You cannot use Zeta points on yourself. You can only help another player with your Zeta points. And you can only use 1 Zeta point per turn. So that's why I said that they stack. So you can have more than 1 Zeta point at a time, unlike Inspiration, which you can only have 1 at a time for GM purposes. When you use a Zeta point, a fellow player gains one of the following benefits. Reroll their reactor die, reroll their damage die, or gain 1 additional action on their turn. The reactor roll for multiple actions of the same type still applies. So you could, in one scenario, scenario, yes, that's how I'm pronouncing it now. What scenario?
Ew-woo?
Ooh-woo.
No, ew-woo.
Ew.
Oh, whoa. So, for example, if let's say Light Rider is in melee combat with an Aeon mech, and he has decided to take 2 attacks, thus rolling his reactor die. If
one was eating a sandwich.
While he was eating a sandwich, as always, if he gets to a point where the Aeon mech or the enemy that he is up against looks like it's on their last legs, one of you can choose to use a Zeta point to grant him a 3rd attack. Ooh. He would still have to roll his reactor die, but he would get a 3rd attack that he normally wouldn't get. So.
Okay, all right.
Just as
only 1 per turn, so it's not like
only
all of
1
us
per
can
turn.
spend a Zeta point on him.
Exactly. You can only use 1 per turn. Yep.
That would be insane though if everybody could use a Zeta point at once and
just dump all of your Zeta points into one person, Super Saiyan style. Like
Light Rider brings out his revolver, uses fan the hammer.
Yeah, it goes like full on Bash the Stampede.
Unicorns, baby. All unicorns.
Dude, remember, he's 50-50 with the revolvers. So.
True, that's true. Miss hit.
Yeah, but when I hit them, they die. So
when you get that hit, they're done.
Which is hilarious. It is hilarious that your track record is so much better with your sword, but you never use the sword.
I've never used the sword. I always go for the shots.
Yeah,
he's 1 for 1 with the sword, and it was like,
don't worry,
retired.
Yeah. It's better now. It's better now. The last couple of times I pulled it out, it's been better.
Yep.
It's improved.
You're not using that.
I can leave that one alone.
Simulator anymore either.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I don't know. The dice simulator was probably more fair.
You're not wrong.
The math is probably more mathy.
Well, yeah, probably.
JD,
statistically, it's more efficient.
Unicorn. Yes, that's a 20. Oh.
Yeah,
sure,
that's a good moment.
1.
That's a great moment.
Yeah, for real. I can't wait.
Sad.
That's gonna be a short also.
The unicorn let us all down.
Hi, Ash.
Hey, Ash.
Everybody say hi.
Hi, Ash.
Ashley, since you're in chat, do you have any questions for us? Hit us. I mean, don't actually hit us, but you know.
Hit.
Ow!
I love that so much.
That hurt.
I love that so much.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Pro tip, if you're a streamer, always have something playing at an audible level in the background or you will get clipped.
Always.
It's safe that way, I
But
think.
what if I want to be clipped?
Well, then go for
Ouch.
it. I mean,
I've clipped so many people, and like you can finagle with it just right in Audacity to get to where it's just their voice.
oh god, you should see what I clipped for Potch on his stream earlier. Oh my god. I'll send it to you later.
Yes, do it.
Love it.
So, do you guys have questions for each other? For me, hit me with any of the above. Anything you want to know? You're putting me on the spot. 2 seconds, says Ash.
1, can you be more awesome?
I think if I got any more awesome, I would probably implode.
There you go.
Hey.
Okay, Ash asks, what is your favorite part of the Mecha Hacky universe?
Oh.
That's a
Ooh.
good one.
Go rest.
So, real talk, I was a huge Gundam fan growing up. Like, Gundam Wing was my jam. I mean, you know, I think there's some inspirations for my mech based on a couple. So I think
Waltz has some hard truths in it.
yeah. So honestly, like I was a big D&D fan, and it's why I'm into the really hard into the fantasy genre. Like, I mean, love Skyrim, love anything. Like, I have so many books on the bottom of my shelf that have to do with the fantasy genre. But to actually be able to play in a mech, kind of like fulfilling that childhood, like, oh, this is so sick. So I remember when Fraz had came to me, I was like instantly in, because I was like, fuck yeah, I get to pilot a Gundam. Are you kidding me? That's sick. So I jumped at that chance. Just, you know, it was always something that I'd like to do, and I always played like games and stuff growing up based on mechs and everything. But to actually have my own is pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
Go, Theo.
So, who remembers back in the day, because part of my answer involves a question for everybody else here, remembers Kali?
That sounds really familiar,
That sounds
actually.
familiar.
Kali was one of the first ways you could really game online. It was the first real use of TCP/IP protocols where you could play LAN-based games on the internet. The original, like Warcraft 2, Command and Conquer, Red Alert,
Oh yeah.
Mech Warrior 2.
Right.
My first real big exposure to internet gaming was Mech Warrior 2. I joined a house. I was part of the Intersphere Alliance. We had massive scheduled battles, and I was a heavy mech pilot. I piloted the Atlas. I piloted the Dashi. I had a Thanatos that would kick your butt. Okay? This is that times 1,000. Okay? I imagine Ralph's mech to look like something like oh god, what was the big bruiser mech from Pacific Rim? There was a big gunner mech and I can't remember its name.
Shoot. The Russian one?
What? Not quite. No, it
From the first one, right?
anyway, yeah, but anyway.
I was gonna say
point
not
is-
Gypsy Danger.
Yeah,
No, not
That's
Gypsy.
the only one that
what
comes to mind. Yeah, they said
Gypsy Danger is what I imagine a striker chassis to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, the Russians had like a massive nuclear powered thing that they basically called Chernobyl, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
But basically something like that crossed with a Dashi and an Atlas, just all crammed together, this junk heap of a thing. Just, it shouldn't work. Whatever mechanic put this together should be drawn and quartered, but the thing is a beast. I mean, it is my kind of just brute force, get the job done engineering.
I love it.
So going from that way back when, playing in this type of game now is just keeping that kind of first time internet experience alive in my head. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, that started off with The Descent was the first game that I used Kali on.
oh yeah, oh my god.
Warcraft 2 for me.
It was Warcraft 2. Was one of their big ones, and I think it's and of course Theo mentioned the other big one, Mech Warrior 2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, if you were playing online gaming in '85, that was what you were playing on. '87, '90, that's what you were playing on. And then the big boys were like, well, it's just gaming thing. We might have to do something about it here.
Yeah.
Just put it like straight in the game, you know?
And then Windows, and I don't know, they did some Xbox thing. I don't think it's gonna take off.
I know what originally
here
pinged
we
in my
are.
brain when you said Kali. I think Kali Linux is like
No, it was KALI.
I know, but that's the
yeah.
first thing that pinged in my brain.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I know that there's something else though, but I don't remember what it
This
was.
thing was built on the IRC platform.
God,
and
you had to
like,
pay
all its-
for it. You had to
No.
pay for it. It wasn't free. You had to pay $20 for the software. It wasn't
Oh, I
free.
got mine free.
Well, it came with the games, but if you didn't have it and you wanted the latest and greatest one, or you didn't want to have to use your AOL hookup, you could pay for it and buy it.
I think he's in the same room, Ash, just in a different angle, maybe? Question mark.
Yeah, I've been in the same room since like last May.
Yeah.
He's got the lights
yeah.
on. I think the camera might have shifted from one side to the other.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think at one point I might have had like the streamer lights on, and then I mean before that, you know, I was in the
The
old
Streamer
lights.
lights.
No, we
the
didn't see
streamer
as much as-
lights.
So
We went
judgy.
to the couch.
No, I have them back there. I'm gonna bust them out soon, I think.
But anyway,
Okay.
Me and JD over here feeling attacked.
Yeah. No. It's... well, what I wish I had was those nano leaf things. I wish I had them.
Yeah,
Right.
Those are cool.
Okay, Theo,
They're-
finish your thought, and then we'll go
Also
to the other
expensive as
two.
all hell.
Well, that's
They're
pretty
so
much it.
expensive.
I mean, being in a mech,
okay.
like Resta said, but I just came at it from a different way. I mean,
Yes.
it's
Too big.
yeah.
Okay,
But so who else has an
yeah.
answer for that one?
Bacon, what's your favorite part of the Mecha Hack universe?
It's hard. It's hard to come off this point though. Like being you've played the traditional D&D that we've been wizards and rogues and barbarians and medieval characters. You know what I mean? That we're actually in a futuristic, in a mech, in this whole different universe is amazing. I too go back to Mech Warrior days, and I'm a huge fan. I've always have been, and to be able to now I'm an actual pilot of one. Like I control this. Whoa, this is amazing. This is freaking amazing. And to coordinate with y'all, and again, just like JD's point earlier, our flow in these last few episodes have gotten a lot stronger. And we have an ability to, you know what I mean, poke and punch at one another and go, okay, I know what you're saying, and roll with the punch, right? It's just been, I don't know, it's hard for me to come to words with this because it's so awesome. And again, this being one of my first virtual doing this, and not seeing the person here and feeling that necessarily energy of being, face to face.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to judge that through our goings on through this, it's totally cool. It's been a great experience so far, and I'm looking forward to, as we go on, to make it even better and greater, and just do as
Which is
awesome as we are.
Already well on its way to being. So
Right,
Oh, just-
100%.
I think the right people see this and really look at what it is. It's going to take off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
JD, how about you?
I think it's really the world building's really neat. I think it's a cool universe. so like for me,
Flex will dazzle now.
With how vague the world building is, like just as written, it gave me
gives you so much room.
much freedom.
it's really cool
It's
what
great.
you've done with it, because I know where it started, so I know what.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, there's really not a ton of source material needed for you to go off from, and I think what you've done with it's really cool. I'm excited to see just the stuff that we don't know. So,
Yeah.
and continue to
Mhm.
kind of get more into it. I mean, we're still really laying out broad brush stroke plot points,
Oh, yeah.
and still don't have any of anything figured out, which I think is really cool.
And there's still so much like broad brushstroke world building that's still going on as well. Like
Yeah.
with this arc, the whole idea of this entire arc is to start kind of delving into the people behind the factions, right? So we've kind of had this very generalized, like overarching idea of the Aeons, of the Neos, of the Terrans, which the Neos and the Terrans don't really exist as much anymore. It's mostly just everyone versus the Aeons. But now as we're kind of starting to dive into it and comb into those things, we're seeing more of the fact that those factions are still around. And we still just like don't have a full grasp on everything that's going on. So
Right.
And I think that loose nature too is just really what's making this so appealing. It's not just the backstory. It's the rules have a certain looseness to them
Yeah.
that is letting. Now, Fraz is a very experienced GM. Like, they know their stuff, and there's no questioning that. They've been doing it for a long time. But I think even an inexperienced GM could come in and really start to play with the story and not feel hindered like, oh my God, this world is so big, it's so massive. What if I'm not consistent with what's already established? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that on it, to be real with you, that was a big factor where I'm a new character coming in that and not knowing, and I've watched the episodes beforehand, but I didn't know, like, as like when I got in here, I was like, am I following the right protocol for this? Am I following the right moves and things like that? And like some of the stuff, like Fraz has gone over the lattice with us and she's given us information, but it's only to a certain point. And then I'm somebody who knows about this but doesn't know about this. You know what I mean? So I'm going off the seat of my pants going, you know what I mean? I'm just giving it my all. And so Hawkins is I felt him on the lattice and this and that, right? Was all just something I kind of like, that would be a thing.
Yeah.
Fraz, don't be mad.
No, it was fantastic. I mean? It was fantastic. Like, honestly, going back and watching the role play when it happened, like, I didn't really appreciate like how fucking well that you really started to blend in with the group. Like, because this was this episode that we just watched tonight, session 3. This was the second session that Mr. Wisepork's character has been in. So like, that's the fact that you were able to come in and like start role playing and like start bouncing off other folks as well was huge. And yes, Ash, I see your other question. We'll get to in a minute, I promise. So
I also have a question though too, while we're still on this one, for Ash to clarify. Do we as players regret what the character may have chosen to do, or does the character regret their actions? Because that's a big difference. So if you could clarify that one while we're finishing this.
Porque no los dos.
Well, not both. Yes. So.
Yeah. So I think that the looseness of the world and the freedom to create within like, and it's not that there is a lack of lore, like, because there's plenty of lore. But there's not specific lore, right? So like there isn't like Matt doesn't go out of his way to define outside of like some landmarks and some important places like Slipstar that we mentioned tonight being the Terran Outskirts Scouts base. We've mentioned Elnax has been like, Elnax is a planet that I came up with. Fort Husqvarna is another one that's important for the Neo Dominion. Both is goo. So like there are, outside of a couple of landmarks, it's mostly just open world. Like it's very much just choose your own thing, like insert here. And that's so great for me as a world builder as well as a GM, to be able to give you guys the power to come up with whatever the hell you want, right? Like that's, I think that's really fun from like a role play side of things too. It's just like when Mr. Wisepork was bringing in Chimera for the first time and we were just chatting back and forth about like, okay, what's your character's backstory? Where did they come from? Like, you know, kind of what's your origin point? And first of all, I swear to God, this man read my fucking mind.
That's what I was,
because all of the things that he was saying, I'm just like, man, I was hoping somebody would come in and do these things.
That's great.
So it was fantastic.
That about all of us though too. It's just weird. It's weird how it all worked out.
It all worked out really, really well. And I'm so excited because you guys, like, even though like half of you gave me, oh, I'm an amnesiac, that in and of itself was enough for me to be like, okay, well, how far can I stretch this? So don't worry, I have entire backstories ready and written for Light Rider and Ralph that we will work through.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, I don't think
no,
I did.
you gave me that. Why do you think we're going through your character arc first?
Fuck yeah, I did my homework.
While she did say we mostly came in as amnesiacs too,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean we didn't give her any direction
No.
either, because
Right.
there are points that, you know,
Mhm.
this will actually lead into the next question that Ash had asked. You know, there's points in Ralph's backstory that he himself, maybe not amnesiac at this point, no spoiler, but he regrets decisions that he's made to the point where they're so far repressed that he doesn't know what really happened.
Yeah.
He's got a vague idea, but he doesn't really know. And it you know, it's kind of, as a player, no, and I don't regret anything Ralph has done because he's always done the best within his ability, but he has his own regrets for his own reasons. So
Fair. That's
All of
fair.
y'all have a lot of trauma that you're dealing with.
Oh
Your
yeah.
we need a
characters.
trauma
Oh,
llama.
Yeah.
Yeah, trauma.
Trauma llama.
Pass the llama.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That would be amazing if we all had like the same unique llama and we just pass it, like, hold it up when it's our turn.
That's something that I've been like, I'm trying to be mindful of as I start to delve into each character's backstory, is knowing that there's like, with your characters, there's a lot of trauma associated with a lot of the things that are going on in your backstories, and maybe that's
Yeah.
why you have amnesia. Maybe it's a completely different reason, and we'll find out eventually. But
Right.
unfortunately for Rest, he's the one who gave me the most information on his backstory. So
Come on, guys, I can't be the only one doing the readings before class.
you got to be the guinea pig for the
Buddy,
first
I'm just
character
copying your
arc,
work.
and I am not sorry.
No, that's fine. It was funny too, because until you were just like, screw it, I'm like just telling them what it was. Like, there were so many subtle hints that you dropped that I'm over here like, I'm not acknowledging shit all until they bring it up, and it was like, it would just fly under the radar, and you were like, he used to be an Aeon, and I was like, well, fuck, I guess now we're going in on it.
And that,
Right.
when I said like I copied your work, and I like, again, this was a conversation that was between just me and Fraz. I didn't ask, all right, what's JD's character? What's Theo's character? What's, you know what I mean? I wasn't asking all those questions. I was just like, all right, well, how about this? How about that? How about this? How about that? And she was like, oh yeah, well, Rest is a defected Aeon, and I'm like, oh, okay,
like,
interesting.
all right,
Interesting.
all right
Yes.
then, right?
Yeah. It was funny too, because I think you had Suneo be like, "Oh, have you told your team about your previous escapades?" I'm like, "Oh, fuck,
Right.
we're gonna have this fight right now."
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm not mentally prepared to be yelled at by Light Rider and get the disappointed talk from Ralph. And then it was just like, "Yeah, okay, on to the mission." I was like, "Oh, sick."
Nice score.
Yeah, nobody made notes, so it didn't come up in the next
Yeah.
section. I was like, "Yes."
I also think that like,
No, Light Rider just doesn't really.
Yeah.
He's so
I think
done
Light
with
Rider
you.
just
He's so
doesn't care.
done with you.
yeah.
I love that
Oh, it's so
dynamic. too.
funny.
That's
There's gonna be
freaking
like
hilarious.
a scrap at one
That,
point.
you know, you
Yeah.
may get it
Great.
later.
Wait for it.
Yeah.
You may get
No,
it
I think
later, but-
I'm just gonna leave at some point. I'm just gonna be like, man, call y'all.
Yeah.
At this shit, I'm
Please
out.
don't.
I mean,
Please don't.
no, I mean, Light Rider will.
I know.
He'll just take his mech and go home at a certain point.
Well, you better have a
And
fucking
end up in-
backup character for
then
when that
end
happens.
Up end up in real trouble. And then
That's
they'll
all
have
I'm
to
saying.
call back and be like, I screwed up. Hey, rest.
Just take
All
me-
I'm
just take
saying
me
is
back.
that if Light
Before this
Rider,
season is even halfway done, dude.
all I'm
I think
saying
that's-
is that if Light Rider has to take an extended break, please, for the love of all things pure and holy, have a backup character ready, just so that
Oh,
we
goodness.
don't have to deal with having just 3 pilots again.
No. We
I
wouldn't
think
have to do
JD
that.
broke his mic and now he's got a wobbly mount like Resta.
Yeah.
No. Mine's rigid.
Okay, so continuing that question, I'm just gonna pick people. Rest.
Oh,
Do
she's
you
always
regret
doing that.
your kid?
Yeah, becoming fucking captain. Well, and it's funny too when we didn't create them. It was just like, oh yeah, like the engineer looks good. Oh, actually, we have this spot open. It was like, all right, I guess we're going in there. But as for an actual decision, not really. I guess like I wouldn't say there's been anything like huge or detrimental that's happened as a result. Like if like he made a decision and then somebody died from it, obviously there would be that one. But nothing would really come to mind that there would be like a decision or something he chose to do that he was like, that's a regret. It was just kind of always just kind of live with the decisions made and just has to go from there. Take it as it comes.
That's another thing that I want to, spoiler alert a little bit here, kind of like talk about just a little bit. Despite your hesitance a little bit, and also just despite Gray's character, I really feel like over the past couple of sessions, you've really come into like that leadership role a little bit more. And that's been fun watching that journey happen. And so it's going to be interesting to see if the decisions that you've made the past couple of sessions lead to potential regrets later on.
I can guess one that's about to fucking kill me, but I mean, you'll find out in like 8 weeks. But yeah, no, and it's funny too, because I remember messaging you because like I think it was after like session 3. I felt like because my background in tabletops, there was a lot of like everybody discuss, but the way that this one's rolling, because of the captain position, it's kind of like well, ultimately you have to make this decision. And so since I was so used to like, all right, the entire group come to the conclusion and then we'll move on, that's where that hesitancy came from. So I remember messaging you and just being like, I've been screwing up and I'm really sorry. Like I'll get the hang of it at some point, but like I just kind of have to mentally be okay with being like, all of you shut up, we're doing it this way. Yeah. Kind of thing. So, because I knew that like that for a couple weeks there, like it was actually like I was like bothered, like just not with anybody in particular, but just by myself, just to be like, well, fuck, like I feel like I'm holding everybody else back because of like how I'm doing it, but I also don't want to take away anybody's time to shine or kind of step on anybody's toes. Like I want everybody to kind of have their own voice and offer up their own opinions. So that's why like I never really did anything concrete. It was always like, well, what does the rest of the party want to do? But then through this, it's been like, okay, but me taking that, like taking the reins in those positions, that's how we're supposed to play it. So that's why, like you said, the last couple I've been more like, okay, no, we're doing it this way, whatever. So,
and it's also not been like a dictatorship. So like I don't want like anyone to think that it's like Rest is coming to being an authoritarian over the rest of the table. Like as a GM, if that were the case and you weren't like giving other people the opportunity to say anything, then that would be a conversation between you and I.
Oh, but absolutely,
but also the best leaders.
I mean, we're expecting the captain to make some calls.
Exactly.
It wouldn't make any sense for you to not be. That's what was driving me bonkers as Light Rider. I'm like, would you just freaking captain? And I mean, it's Fraz's fault for setting you up for failure because
wow, okay.
She did. I mean, she says, okay, your leader was like your dad. He was like the best person, and now he's gone. Yeah. And so you're just left with.
I did? What did that happen?
Oh, yeah. When now this goes way back to the very first episode.
God, I don't remember that.
See, Light Rider's not just a jerk for no reason. You got to understand. They ripped his mentor and father figure away from him and took him away from the person who used to lead this team.
I genuinely don't remember this.
Oh my goodness.
I genuinely don't remember
first episode stuff. For the very first session we ever did. And
I remember
the backstory,
I remember director Akira being like in a mentorship / parental figure role, but I don't remember because you guys didn't have a leader. Beforehand.
No, I mean we did, and you said that leader was your mentor, and then that person was gone. Like I had to have had a captain. You
guys were still in traiing until the first simulation.
But
you probably did. That's why I'm saying I don't remember you. I'm sure that what you're saying is true.
Yes, I was taken away from who my mentor and leadership person was, and put from a very strong leader.
Yeah. Okay.
To underneath somebody who's not making any decisions at all. And I'm sitting here going, okay, well, wait a minute.
Damn,
this
those
isn't
were
leadership.
really, really early indicators like way long ago about what I have planned for you. Oh fuck.
So
yeah.
no, but Like Rider's still freaking pissed about it. Like he
Yeah.
I
feels
think
like
JD's leaking some of the dream knowledge out.
no, this isn't dream knowledge.
no,
this was talked
like-
about openly. This
is chapter
I
one
have to
shit.
go back and watch.
My
this is
whole
like
argument
chapter
with-
one.
I love this.
My whole argument with Resta's leadership the whole time comes from this.
Yeah.
It comes from the fact that I was just thrown with and the only person that it was Quinn. It was me and Quinn, who's now off in deep sleep land somewhere.
He's
So
not
Light
in
Rider's
deep sleep
no, I
land,
know.
he's just-
But I mean-
He was taking a nap.
Yeah.
But Light Rider is ostensibly on his own. Like he's fine with Ralph or whatever because he knows Ralph, but it's really not. It's not what he was expecting at all.
Yeah.
So Light Rider's whole situation is kind of like that's why it's not out of nowhere. He's not just kind of an ass. He really has
he
felt
is
like
kind of an ass.
he's no. I mean, he's felt like I'm getting sent into battle by people who don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And
Become an ass.
and it started to piss him off because I just every time in the back of my head I'm like, well, that's not what an actual leader would do because I've been under actual leaders. So like he's just second guessing you the whole time.
My mind is just being blown right now because
Yeah.
it's such a new character.
Does that give you guys the understanding of why my character is the way he
I
is? That's where
forgot
it's
about
coming
that.
from.
Now
I
I wouldn't
forgot
where
about
it's
that.
coming
myself
from.
out for like a
It's-
month to be like, I'm fucking this up. They hate me. I
No,
gotta
it's
do
not
better.
because I can't stand you. I'm sorry. No, it's not because I
just
don't.
went like down.
No,
I also kept like putting you in situations to try and force
Yeah,
you to
that's
make
what
a,
I said.
a
She set you up
decision.
for a failure every time. She's putting you in situations where you can't really lead, and and it's only me fighting it because Ralph's just like, well, I mean, hey, we'll figure. It's okay, Light Rider. We'll figure it out. Which is
the voice of reason.
which is fine. Well, no, but I mean, here I am, and that's why I was asking in the last session and in the last couple episodes, you keep hearing Light Rider going, well, who the f- is calling the shots here? Like, what is I feel like we are a SEAL team, but like we don't even know what the president's smoking right now, and there's no real plan, and it just feels like everybody's playing fast and loose with our lives. And so I'm like, well, this just isn't what I was trained for. Yeah. So that's where it's all coming from. So
Which honestly isn't far off as far as the whole playing fast and loose with y'all's lives, because frankly, that's like what this entire thing has been. So yeah, no, your concerns, Light Rider's concerns
my
are
concerns
valid.
I know.
Well, and it's funny too that you mention it because I remember first session when we had like a little bit of tension, you had messaged me. Well, you messaged me and you were like, "This is something we could explore." I'm like, "Yeah, that would, like it's actually because so many times in TTRPGs, everybody's friends, and you're just like, it's good to go. There's it's camaraderie the entirety of the way." So for having like the tension between Light Rider and Hawkins, it kind of like adds a bit of depth to like character building and like what's happening.
A realistic dynamic,
like, Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like you rolled up, and even though you're a player character in with us, it's still like we don't trust you. Like you're this brand new entity, and so that's something like that Light Rider and Hawkins now agree, like the first time ever they agree on something. It's like we can't trust that guy. Yeah. And then Ralph's like, guys, like, come on.
But he saved,
like, we can't
Ralph's
trust
life.
him, but still.
Yeah. Like,
well, again, that's what I find is interesting too about this, because even though Ralph is willing to work with Chimera at this point, it's not necessarily out of trust. It's out of pragmatism.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's interesting because Ralph is falling into the pragmatist role to kind of he's falling right in between everyone.
He's trying to buffer between the two of you.
Light Rider is all principle, though.
It's not just them.
Yeah.
It's all. I'm always going to be all principle. That's just how Light Rider is, because that's the only thing that has made sense to him that allows Light Rider to order the chaos of his background.
I think it's so interesting.
Is a hierarchy.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because like we have Ralph as coming in and being pragmatist, and where Hawkins's character has been raised in a militant environment, but I feel like Hawkins is one of those characters that intellect shown over like the just day-to-day grind of like military, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Regardless, you get what I'm saying. Whereas Light Rider needs that military hierarchy style of like environment to be able to thrive.
Basically.
So yeah, like a doctrine basically. So it's fun to see like two people with very similar backgrounds kind of clash, even though they've been in the same environment, but have just gone stark opposite ways of how to handle it. And then we have fucking Chimera coming in here, just nobody knows who the hell he is or what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he should be out the airlock. I mean,
Yeah, WisePork should have been working on character 2 immediately.
I love Mr. Wiseport. Don't get it twisted. I love you, but like, Chimera, the Darth Vader mother out the airlock, bro. Hey, yeah, no, the vegetable garden's right over.
Bye, buddy.
I have to put up with Hawkins. I don't have to put up with you. Get out of here.
Exactly.
And I feel that Ralph's pragmatism too is coming from a completely opposite standpoint of both Light Rider and Hawkins, where Ralph wasn't a fighter. He was the gentle giant type, soft spoken and just, taking care of himself, his family, didn't want to fight. That may have had consequences. Something at some point changed it to where he now feels it's important that he take up arms to do what he feels needs to be done to protect what's important to him, or whatever's left that's important to him. So you see that in his decision making at this point. Not everything needs to be violent, but not everything is black and white. He's taking that, that measured just enough approach,
Right.
Which is also why he tries to break up the seriousness with levity when he can, to try to make people remember that they're still people. Even though you're fighting life or death situations, you're still a person. You still need to live with your decisions and understand what's going on around you. And I think that's where he's coming from in trying to make all of his decisions.
For sure.
With all those factors that we've got building here, these like real personalities, these real life intricacies and dynamics is what's making this so awesome. That you've got a person here that's for balance. You got two leaders, so to say, on different spectrums of that leadership. One that wants to be there but doesn't have the rigid regiment. The other that's there but wants to be in a little more of a understanding and caring what everybody else is thinking too, but I'm in this leader role, but I have to make these decisions. I have to be the stone cold face. I got to be the bad guy sometimes situation. Going back to, is there a regret that you've made character wise? I feel with me, I should have been more, I don't give a fuck about any one of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm here for the shit, to repair my shit. Give me my stuff. Go on. I'm off to kill some Aeons. But I'm a kind-hearted individual. It's really hard for me to be in that role, to be cold and just be like, screw y'all. So I've tried to add, some badassery in there, and as you'll see in some of these episodes, there's some nice badassery. But that's one thing that I've regretted, that I wish I was a little more colder. But again, the dynamics in here is just so friggin' awesome. It's a strong base for this whole thing to be great.
Well,
Yeah, there's tons of room for character growth, both individually and as a team too. Like at multiple points, it's going to come together and figure itself out. But again, we're in like season 1, chapter 1, so it's still that like everything's new to them. So the fights and everything are gonna happen. So
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun to see where it's gonna go too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not like we haven't been in situations yet where the characters need to rely on each other to survive. That's happened already. But because that's what this entire universe is counting on the man next to you to survive. Something big, something huge is gonna happen. It has to happen to bring these battling personalities together.
Mhm.
And WisePork, if I can,
You always can, bud.
I think if anything, maybe Ralph's kind of disarming demeanor might have thrown Chimera for a little bit of a loop at times.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You know what I mean? Like this guy got in a mech with me. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
pretty sure
scared
that
let's be
Ralph's
real.
got a thing for Chimera at this
Ooh,
point. Like I
woo.
just
Like I said,
There's
not
subplots
trusting,
going
but
on right
saying-
I ship it.
subplot
I
here.
ship it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they already co-piloted, so how much longer it's gonna take.
Ooh, whoa.
Whoa.
Once,
Go to
yeah.
the corner, JD.
Once you share a mech,
Yeah.
There's no going back. Yeah, that's a different understanding, especially with you and your relationship to your mech.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
so we
Ooh, whoa.
are at an hour, but there are
Yes.
a couple of more questions. So
Yep.
how are we feeling on time? Are you guys cool
Yeah,
with
we
going
can
for a
do.
little
I can
bit
do a couple
longer?
more questions for
I was
sure.
gonna say a couple more. Yeah.
Okay,
no,
cool.
Yeah,
that's not a
she's
problem.
got
So-
two interesting
yeah.
questions. Still, yeah.
I wanted to let JD get a chance to answer whether or not he's ever he regrets anything that Light Rider's
Nah.
done or Light
Nah.
Rider. Yeah, I didn't think so.
That's
That
a big
was-
no.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
So, next question. Who is your favorite side character or NPC that I have played?
Oh my.
Ew.
Okay.
Oh, Big
Damn.
Texas, man. That's
Yeah,
the
Texas
best.
is
Texas.
definitely up there.
We do love
Space Texas.
Scout Leader Tabata. He's pretty great.
Oh, God, it's great.
Yeah.
Really funny. I almost made Gray a cowboy, so I'm really happy I didn't. But it was so funny. I was almost like, shit. Like I should give him like an old 6-shooter and just go the full cowboy motif for everything. And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
nah, I should do something else. And so when you brought in Tabata, I'm like, the road not taken. Goddamn.
I pulled that accent out of my ass because I'm just like, I need something to distinguish this NPC.
It's so great.
And that's just the first accent
My
that comes to
favorite.
mind. It's either that or Russian. Those are just the first two that come to my brain.
It's my favorite. It's so good.
I am a big
Nice.
fan of the Chiba twins. I do
Yeah.
like them.
Yes.
I shouldn't say
Mhm.
Ed
They're
because
cool.
I did
Yeah.
design him, so I can't really say.
I've
him.
also taken some liberties with Ed.
Yes,
too,
you have,
so-
absolutely, and that's fine. That absolutely, because if it's a character you're gonna make, it's like you want the rough outline of what
Yeah.
he would have been, and then it's just put your
And-
twists on it. It doesn't matter.
Obviously, if there's anything that I am doing with Ed that does not fit your mental description or thought of who Ed would be as a character, please let me know.
No, no,
So-
I think all I said was he's very outspoken and
phrase
ready
be
to throw
any more
hands
British,
literally
Ash?
whenever. That's all I had. So it's like somebody talks bad to him, it's just a swift right into the jaw. That's all he
Yeah.
is.
He is it's been so interesting to the past couple of sessions to I'm trying to figure out where I want to take Ed, because Ed is the first Ed's the first NPC that's not related to the Nishimura in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
So
There's a lot of freedoms with him.
yeah, it's
Right.
it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Ed.
Yeah. I do have to say, even though in character Gray hates him because of reasons, I like Suneo because I get such a Hojo vibe from him from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
That's as soon as you introduce this guy, that's all I could see. I was like, this guy's just Hojo.
Bro.
That's
Which
who
is
this dude
hilarious
is.
because I
Bro,
have
I'm
absolutely no
not
idea who
unseeing
that
that
is.
No,
That
exactly
is-
right.
yeah.
And
Not
so
a
that's why
clue.
I'm just like, I hate you.
Oh my
but,
god.
He has that, I feel there's a lot of potential there that it's just the craziest things are gonna come from him. He's a character you're gonna hate, but at the same time be like, oh damn, yeah, okay.
Right.
Love to hate
You're
him.
not wrong.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Love to
So,
hate
Love
him, hate
hate.
to love him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? I'm curious.
I've enjoyed the twins. I don't really want to get into it because that's gonna spoiler stuff. And but I've enjoyed the twins. Definitely.
The twins are great.
Yeah.
I do like the twins, and when you introduce them being like they used to be part of a team, I'm like, oh, there's a dynamic there to explore. That's cool.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So NPCs are hard. We've met. Really, they've all been good.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
they've
have
all
been.
been fleshed pretty good. But
Thank you.
like Wisepork said, the twins, and I mean, Ralph admires V for her strength and just not caring. You know, she gets the job done, but I think that's kind of about it. I mean, it's just, you know, it's one of those, he can appreciate the kind of individual she is. So, and she just says what she wants to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that's
She
why
does.
Hawkins admired her.
It's great.
JD, how about you?
I think I personally like all the little incidental characters a lot, but
Yeah.
I do think it's got to come down to the little dude that was with Quinn that is just Quinn's little fanboy.
Oh,
What is his name?
Tyler.
Tyler.
Yes, I love
Tyler's
Tyler.
probably still my favorite NPC of all of them, just because it's so believable.
I love Tyler.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's such a sweet little boy. I love him
I think
so
that's a
much.
good one. I think that's a good one. So I think that's a good one. And Theo has a drinking problem.
Well, I actually almost feel like
I
you
don't have
started
a drinking
exploring
problem, I have a
Jack's
drinking mess,
like
so
Quinn's
it's-
backstory before Hawkins'
Yep.
like that kind of started getting geared up.
Yep.
Yeah, and then unfortunately Jack had to part ways for reasons.
Yeah, you know, I
But
kind
he
of
also
like
took
that.
a big break. So
I honestly like that storyline is hanging.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
that it's unresolved.
Yeah.
I think I think there's a tension in the background because answering that answers a lot of things that we don't have answers to, and so I think leaving some of that unknown is really neat.
It's
and-
also
and
so
leaves
much
a lot of
fun
room.
cameoing Quinn every now and then.
Right.
Like,
And
Yeah,
whenever it
I
does
love
come
that you
back,
put that in there. I really
Yeah.
did.
yeah.
Whenever that story comes to hit home, that's going to
It'll
be
it'll pay off
amazing.
really good. Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be so worth the wait.
Yeah, that's been like the constant like background one that everyone's like, oh, this like the suspense around is so.
It's like
so,
we know that there's
so-
something there, but we're really not
Yeah,
sure. what
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the next question from Ash is, hang on, if I can, if you could swap characters with each other, who would you swap with and why?
Real talk, I'd swap with JD. I'd be like Ryder. just to call everybody out. It's like it was a path that I was like, man, should I go that way? No, a captain should be kind of like, you know, stoic, reserved and everything. But it
That's
was like,
great.
again, if I went the engineer route like I had originally talked about, it would have been a cowboy that just called everybody on their shit. So that's
amazing.
and that's what I like about this. Like we were talking about earlier, we're not all friends. Like there's that character that calls people out on their shit.
Mhm.
Right.
In
Right.
a lot of other parties and tabletops and even like stories and games period, everybody's just magically best friends and you know
Yeah.
we're all here for the common
They resolve
enemy.
all their issues every time.
Almost immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
party
exactly.
tension is so much fun though.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
If
It
you're
is.
if you
It's so
explore
leveled.
it, if you explore it safely and like consensually with everyone, like that's why we have safety tools, right? Like
Right,
that's
yeah,
why I
right.
wanted to make sure that we were playing to each other, but we were also like within certain boundaries, right? So yeah, you can see up on the screen with Theo and MisterWisePork that they have their little green lights.
Mine's always red, so I just leave it on.
I got Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
so,
I just
you know,
have
it's all
colored
good.
index cards, so
Yeah.
nothing fancy.
I
When
won't
I
lie to
tilt,
you.
it's in character. It works out great.
Yeah.
It's the smartest thing I've ever done.
I won't lie to you. Like there was the first couple of times that JD push the envelope. And if I wasn't a viewer of JD's content or knew about JD or anything like that, like I I would have been like way more like, oh my god, is he really just losing his right now? Like,
is that Restabrooks guy gonna just start screaming back?
Yeah, are we okay? Like, what do I
Yeah.
do here? You know what I
They
mean?
hate each other.
Like,
So
are we
good.
friends after
Yeah.
today?
It's
Yeah.
so
Right,
good.
yeah, you know what I
So
mean?
much, right? Yeah.
I think
I
the
mean, I
first
think
couple
I
of
think it's-
sessions.
Oh, go ahead. I mean, it might have gone too far in some of the very early sessions,
Very
but
early, but we didn't have safety tools back then either because I didn't understand and like acknowledge how important they were until like recently.
Right.
But I'll also say it's a matter of having everybody at the table there for the right reasons.
Exactly.
So, there's a good reason and a bad reason to push the envelope. Push the envelope if you're in character doing what your character would do. Don't push the envelope just to see what you can get away with or see what type of buttons you can push with people. I think that's the difference.
Buttons?
Yep.
No,
It's
sorry.
and so there was some of that occurring in the very early days, and I think what we have with this group is an understanding. Like me, I'm an actor, so it's not role
We
play
have
and
a
acting are
word
the
for
same
that.
exact thing.
We have a word for those button pushers just to push buttons in the tabletop community. It's called edgelords.
Yeah, so it's like trying to okay, well, so that's where that term comes from.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. It's trying to be the edge case, trying to play the let me find the most complicated, obtuse bullcrap and like divert the entire thing into my direction.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with where the rest of us are going. And I think
Also,
what
main
we've been
character
doing,
syndrome is huge too.
Oh yeah.
yeah, like Light
very
Rider
glad that
only
there's not a
cares
whole
about
lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean and I think it's also about you have to have a character that's developed. So
Yeah.
like understanding that that's why it doesn't really matter even if JD doesn't know exactly what's going on. My character has it. I have figured out with my character's personality traits what he's gonna know.
Yeah.
And what matters to him is what matters to that character. And so thinking like that character would, and of course putting enough of yourself into the character to where it's realistic. But I think you have to be willing to go, that step that your character would go. If you really want it to be believable, you've got to be willing to sell it, not worried if how's this going to make me look, or what's this, what's this going to look like, or are the other characters, I can't think about how you guys are going to react to what Light Rider does. If y'all do something stupid, Light Rider's got to say something. Otherwise, what am I doing? Just following the blind leading the blind, following somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing, going to get us all killed. I've stayed alive this long enough. So like it all has to come from a place of believability. And I have to be able to buy it. Like that's why I haven't done good with other types of RP, because like if you can't buy it as a team.
And that's why,
You know what I mean?
like,
Yeah.
the time that we take after session too, just like privately in Discord, hanging out, decompressing from the session is so damn important. Like, I know that we talk like it's so
Our times
there's
after sessions actually are a lot like this.
Yeah,
They-
they-
Yeah,
Exactly.
they really are.
They really are. And the Venn diagram is a circle between tabletop and other communities. So like when we talk about safety tools and aftercare and things like that, like you can very quickly and easily imagine what other communities that is important in, but the import is still there. Like, because this is a place that we are entering and we have to have a consent conversation, because it's not like, while it's not us physically potentially coming to harm, it is us emotionally and mentally potentially coming to harm. And none of us want that. And MisterWisePork mentioned earlier too about like not being at a table and being online and not being able to really like sense the energy in the room, quote unquote.
Right.
That puts a big disadvantage on online style games like this, because you can't pick up on the nonverbal communication all the time. Now, having a camera on and being able to see people and read their facial expressions helps a lot, but you can't pick up on everything, right? So having the tools that we have is super important in these types of games. And I feel like, you know, even I didn't know that a few months ago, when we started all of this. So we've grown a lot. But yes, Theo.
So following that same kind of thought though, my previous tabletop experience was all in person. And being a, shall we say, slightly off of normal individual, but we all know normal doesn't exist, so take that with a grain of salt.
Facts.
I've actually had a much better time doing this than in-person tabletop.
Yeah.
Because as an individual, I have difficulty reading facial cues and mannerisms in person, face to face, live. Stupid stink bugs. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Those are the worst.
Did you see that land on me?
Yeah.
Okay. So scared the crap out of me.
Freaking turning into Sweet Anita over here.
But so for me, this is actually provided, you know, because of having
Somebody clip that.
face-to-face.
That's great.
That'll be a short later. It's fine.
Because of having issues with face-to-face interaction, I have a very limited social battery.
Yeah.
But online, like through a camera, through a chat, that social battery lasts much longer because here we've learned that we need to be very direct sometimes with how we are feeling in a situation. And that helps me enormously. The stupid lights. I mean, you know, these things are incredible. You know, the lights, the cards. So Fraz coming up with those tools, like she said, they are extremely important. And they would, even day to day, if you have an issue, let's say you have an autistic individual, they may not be able to verbalize their emotions and their feelings in any given moment.
Right.
But, you know, there's suggestions that some type of physical cue from them would be more reliable. There's people who will use text apps. They can't speak what they're feeling very well, but they'll text it to you in detail. So, you know, if they're not feeling so great, maybe they have a sign for you, you know, just tells you, I want to be left alone. You know, don't touch me right now, you know, back off. Those types of things and those types of understandings have helped me a lot recently. So, and just, you know, don't be afraid to be direct with somebody if you don't feel like your feelings aren't coming across. Just don't be rude about it.
Communication is key regardless of what form it takes.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
100%.
So
I'm a firm believer in listening to what's being said, not how it's being said. You know, I grew up in a household with very
Sometimes
loud
you may say
parents
something in a way you
that,
don't
you know
mean
what I mean? When they expressed things, it was very aggressive and loud, and it never was received in the proper manner that it should have been. So
anybody who grew up in New York, hey, how you freaking doing?
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta listen to what's being said, not how it's being said, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us have a lot of well, pretty much everything we're discussing is like we've all got these receptors, and we're all listening to one another, whether it's what you're saying or, you know, how you're saying it, or even the like you said, some of these our cues here. It's just, these things are great, and it makes us even better.
yeah,
You know?
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so rapid fire. We're gonna finish off this question from Ashley, and then that's where we will call it for the evening. So Rest already got his in. JD, who would you trade with, and why, if you would trade? Nope. Okay.
Not happening.
Mr. WisePork, how about you?
Well, you know what? It's hard to give up my character because,
I mean, right?
you know, I'm in the same boat with JD. I'm invested.
No is a full
I'm
sentence and a
invested.
I'm
complete
invested
answer.
here.
We're
So
in.
it's-
We're
yeah.
in.
Just a hypothetical, that's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
If you
if there
would.
was an inkling, then yeah, definitely Hawkins over there. I'd love to sit in those
Ooh.
shoes, but
Thanks, buddy.
yeah, you know, and I'm so enthralled with my character. It's hard to make that call. I'll be
No,
real.
and yeah, I
Nobody
definitely
wants to
agree
be
with that.
Ralph. That's fine.
Yeah.
Theo, how about you?
I am Ralph on a regular basis. This is my life.
See, well,
Right.
if I had to choose, it'd probably be Chimera. I mean, he is
That's a
freaking-
cool character.
It is a cool character.
and he's not far off the Ralph physicality scale, so I feel like I could fit into that.
Yeah.
But there's an intrigue behind him that, if I was in, I'd want to play the character just so I know what everybody else doesn't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and yeah, he's so interesting right out of the gate. It's like you see the modification, you're like, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
You know, like, JD is trying to tug on the
walking
hose
billboard.
immediately, so clearly there's something going on.
I'm so excited to get Chimera's
Katie
art.
goes, "Do you have Lumia installed?"
Yes.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah, I did ask him.
We don't have Chimera's art yet, but the artist is working on it. So
Super
I
excited.
we
can't
should
wait to
have
see
art
that
looks
by next
great.
session. I am
The
so
art
excited.
looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Alex
love
did a
loving the art
fantastic
so
job.
far. It's so good.
I'm so happy. I am so happy that we finally got around to commissioning Alex, because like as soon as I saw their style, I'm just like, yes, this is
Oh, Rest,
exactly what we
your
need.
bust was in the intro, man. That looked great.
Everybody's bust
it?
except for MisterWisePork's was in the intro.
Oh, I didn't even
Because I don't
notice.
have the
Oh,
art yet.
jeez.
Oh,
that's. I gotta go back and look. I gotta go back and look at it. I didn't even
Yes.
notice that.
Do it.
It's all right. I understand, but I've
was
got a lot
hoping
of
we'd have
complications
it.
to what's going on with
Yeah.
my body. So
I was
get
hoping
it.
we'd
I get
have it tonight, but it was the weekend, so they weren't working.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
But we will definitely have it soon, because their turnaround time is
Excited.
insane.
Super excited.
Yeah. No, it's
So-
it's good.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you guys. This was fun.
Yes, thank you.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I like this. I
Oh
like
my
this a lot.
God.
Yeah,
The
this is good.
debrief, and I think just because it's the first one, this first debrief is running way longer.
Oh
than
yeah,
I think it
we're
will.
gonna keep
Yeah,
it to an
yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
We also started it like an hour earlier because
Yeah.
I got
Great.
the time
Yeah.
wrong. So
Works out great though.
yeah,
Yep.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
This has
Yes.
been
No. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
all
guys.
you guys, and thank all you guys.
thank all of
'Cause-
y'all and
Yes,
thank all of
for
y'all.
real.
Thanks for watching.
For real. For real.
So, all
And if you're
right.
missing anything, go back at Fraz. You have all the VODs up.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
of the
go check 'em.
VODs are up.
Yeah.
Everything from, I think that session 4, chapter 1, session 4 is the audio's busted. I'm not positive, but everything else is up. It's all on the Mecha Hack playlists on my profile. This is going into its own playlist, which will become public tomorrow. So yeah, this is all. It's all here. It's all there.
For real.
I was looking at those stupid things on Amazon. I hate you.
What stupid things? What?
Show her wise pork.
I'm confused. Yes! I love the tiny hands. All
You can
right.
buy like a pack of all different gestures and
Yeah, they're great.
Oh my god, yeah.
All right. Well, love you guys. Love you, chat. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And thank you guys so much for being a part of this and continuing to be a part of this. I'm so happy that this is back.
For real. For real.
I missed
Stuff
it.
is amazing.
Good job.
So.
Okay.
All right. Y'all have a good
Night.
night. Bye.
See ya.
guys.
Bye, y'all.